Well, just to give you a quick update, Mike, first of all, we are just now walking away from the office where that meeting was scheduled to take place. The family members very disappointed about the fact that the media weren't allowed in to witness that meeting. The plainclothed and uniformed police officers who've been monitoring their movements very clearly in no mood to allow that request. And also the family members demand that they be allowed to meet a Malaysian government official rather than just an airline official today, also apparently declined. So they say they're not happy. They've decided not to attend that meeting, and they now say they are intending to head down to the Malaysian embassy here in Beijing to continue making their protest heard. You know, from the start there's been this feeling amongst the relatives of the Chinese passengers on board that you know, the information really has been mishandled. If you think back to the early days of the search, focused in the first instance, of course, on the South China Sea, and the delay it took for the Malaysian authorities to release the information that they had that radar data that showed the plane, in fact, tracked across the Malaysian peninsula. So there was time lost, according to these family members, in searching in the proper place. They are very, very unhappy about that. In some ways, that all seems ancient history now. But since then, there have been continued concerns, they say, about the way information has been released, about the timing of some of the announcements, the insensitivity of the way some of the information has been communicated. Now, Malaysian Airlines, the Malaysian authorities would say, look, this has been a difficult and complex investigation. They themselves have been struggling with the way that the picture of where this plane may have gone has been changing very rapidly. So it's been tough for them to make sure they can keep the family members informed. Nonetheless, you know, once again this week we have another apparent confusion. The Malaysian Prime Minister, of course, making that definitive statement on Thursday evening that the piece of wing now discovered off the island of Reunion is linked to MH370, and yet the investigators in France are a little more cautious in their statements. Family members here, given their mood, given their distrust of the Malaysian authorities, see that as yet another piece of the jigsaw of why they shouldn't really trust anything they're being told. And they are here today on the streets of Beijing, probably 30 or so, I'd say, in terms of the numbers, to try to make their voices heard in some kind of protest. But, you know, heavily monitored, heavily controlled by the Chinese police. They are a group of people who feel they have very few answers and nowhere really to turn.